All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive.
Mhm.
Today, we're going someplace, I think both beautiful and kind of sad at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah, all in just one poem. We're diving into coquillage, and you know what that means, right?
seashell, right?
Seashell, exactly. But it has this very interesting subtitle, L'oiseau, la liberté.
Which means,
The bird, freedom.
interesting.
And the whole thing's written in French.
Okay.
And it tells this whole story of like a bird stuck in a cage. And it is just so powerful.
You know, poems can do that.
Yeah.
Pack all those emotions into just a few words. They're like these little windows into a whole world of feelings.
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So to really get the full impact of this one, I'm actually going to read it out loud in French first. Now, don't worry if you don't speak French. We'll totally break it all down afterward.
That sounds good.
Reads the poem in French with appropriate pacing and pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, even if you didn't catch all the words, you can still just feel this weight of sadness in there, you know?
Absolutely. It's like every single line is a brushstroke, painting this picture of despair.
Okay, so let's walk through the poem step by step for those of us who don't speak French.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the beginning sets the scene, right? This bird is at the bottom of its cage, and its gaze is lost, maybe like fixated on the shore.
Almost as if it's retracing its flight path in its mind, like remembering back when it was free.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. And then the whole tone shifts. It gets darker.
Oh,
It talks about these men from the village, and they decide to pluck the bird's feathers, its plumage. You know, the poem calls it beau volage, which means beautiful plumage,
Oh.
to give them as gifts or even pass them down as inheritance. Like,
Oh, wow.
it's a harsh image, right? This beautiful, natural thing being exploited for humans.
It's like those videos you see online of those exotic birds kept in these tiny cages,
Yeah.
and their feathers are plucked for fashion or something. It's heartbreaking.
It really is. And the way the poet uses these simple rhyming couplets just emphasizes this lament, you know? Like, each
Yeah.
line is like another sigh. And it builds up to this final, like, devastating line.
And then, bam, it hits you.
Yeah, like a punch in the gut.
Oh, tell me.
L'oiseau s'est suicidé en se gavant comme une oie.
Which means,
The bird committed suicide by stuffing itself like a goose.
whoa, that's heavy.
It's brutal, and it raises so many questions, right? Like, why choose this method?
Yeah.
Is it some final act of rebellion, like denying its captors any more control, you know?
It makes you wonder what people would do just to feel a little bit in control when they feel totally hopeless, you know?
Exactly. And that brings us to what I think is the core of this poem, this exploration of freedom.
Okay, so I've got all this imagery and symbolism. The bird,
The cage.
the shore.
Yeah.
But what does it all mean?
Well, the bird itself, I think, can represent so much. Dreams,
Potential.
our longing for something more.
Yeah.
And the cage is like this universal symbol of confinement. It can be the literal cage, like in the poem, or it can be like those societal pressures.
Yeah. Or those limiting beliefs we put on ourselves.
Or the expectations other people have of us.
It's like feeling trapped, right?
Exactly.
Like stuck in a job you hate or a relationship that's over. That feeling of being stuck.
Precisely. And the shore, I think, represents this longing for the past. A place where, at least in the bird's memory, it was free.
It's like that ache we sometimes feel for when things were easier, you know, like before life got so complex.
Exactly.
But then there's the seashell, you know, the coquillage in the title. It feels out of place at first, but it adds another layer to everything.
It does, right? It's subtle, but crucial.
Uh-huh.
A seashell is just what's left when the creature inside is gone.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's beautiful, but it's also empty.
So like a reminder of what once was.
Exactly.
So connecting that back to the bird, is the seashell like a symbol of what remains after freedom is lost? Like this haunting reminder of something beautiful that's been destroyed?
That's a really powerful interpretation, and I think it brings it back to us, to our listeners, you. This poem isn't just some story about a bird. It's about all of us.
In what way?
We all have those moments where we feel caged, limited.
Not able to fully express ourselves.
Exactly. So the question this poem leaves us with is, how do we stop ourselves from becoming that bird? How do we break free from those cages, you know?
The ones inside us and the ones that are holding us back from the outside.
It's a question worth pondering.
It really is.
And I think the poem actually offers some clues. Maybe it's about noticing those cages right from the start, refusing to let our own beau volage be plucked away, you know?
Wow. That's a powerful way to put it. So much to think about. I really encourage everyone to go find this poem, Coquillage, read the whole thing, and really reflect on it. because it's short, but man, it's emotionally heavy.
It is.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.